Hello literature connoisseurs. Let's begin chapter 9 of Nicolae. The chapter begins with Rayford getting picked up by Hattie's driver. He gets in the limo and Hattie looks terrible. She won't talk until they get to the restaurant. This was a complete waste as the opening of this chapter. Why such a flimsy paragraph when they could have skipped the quick switch over to Buck? If they were attempting a dramatic pause here, instead it creates an eye roll for the reader. With too much filler, the reader will become bored and move on, ignoring anything, if any, that is vital. Of course, with these terrible writers, that's saying a lot because they have produced nothing. Scene changes to Buck as he stares at the two fakes. Remembering that they cannot talk to discuss anything but merely quote Bible passages as if they are parrots. Not sure how this would convince anyone to follow their religion. If you are not convinced that the Bible is real or that their God exists, then how does acting like a parrot convince someone? Perhaps if that person was already a church-going believer but no one else. Suppose a person walks up and says, "Prove that God is real." The two fakes reply, "He that has seen me has seen the Father." The person responds, "So does that mean you are God?" They reply, "Say ye of him, whom the Father hath sanctified and sent into the world, thou blasphemest, because I said, I am the Son of God." The person can easily respond by saying, a person's statement could also be a symptom of a mental health condition like a delusion or a hallucination, especially if they are not thinking clearly or acting as such. Yet I am supposed to take you seriously because you cannot talk in a relevant way? Call me when you have something of substance. The rest of this section is the two fakes talking gibberish to Buck. Scene changes to Rayford as he and Hattie arrive at the restaurant. We get a strange bit where they are given an exclusive table where it gets broken down from a 4-seat table to a 2-seater. For some strange reason the wait staff tried to make Hattie and Rayford sit side by side, but when Rayford refuses, they get annoyed at having to change the place settings from where they set up. That changed it from sitting next to Hattie to sitting two across from her. Never heard of a restaurant doing this before. Most places usually wait for their guests to pick the seating arrangements before they set it up. The real goal behind this is a Christian virtue signaling where they are trying to depict Rayford as being holy and just and not wanting to flirt, or appear to be, with another woman. Especially since he is married. Hattie becomes annoyed by the news being broadcast on all the televisions about the so-called war. They immediately change the channel to play music videos per her request. We get more virtue signaling because Rayford checks out Hattie, remarking to himself about her good looks even though she is pregnant. He then states that he no longer finds her attractive like he used to. At dessert they get down to the crux of the matter as Hattie starts off by bringing up the past. Remember that in the first book, Hattie expresses that she had no idea about the made-up affair in Rayford's mind. Here the authors change their story and Hattie admits they had an affair but not a physical one. Hattie admits to having a crush on Buck, but she was more focused on her relationship with Rayford. Everything Rayford says next is the same thing Hattie told Rayford in the first book. Rayford objects and says that they were never an item. Hattie complains that Rayford dumped her, but Rayford objects by saying he can't have dumped her when they were never a couple. So they try to play it off that Rayford was giving her signals and leading her on. Which contradicts the first book. This does prove that Christians are good at making contradictions. Their holy book is filled with them, so it's no surprise it falls out into their own lives as well. Hattie continues and goes into her woeful tale of how unhappy she is with Nicolae. Basically she's unhappy because she liked him at first, then he got bored with her and now she feels alone. It becomes the old Christian trope of money and power can't buy you love. Scene changes to a quick paragraph or two of Buck. He dreams where the two fakes are still talking gibberish and he has no idea what they are still talking about. Shame God can't make sense and give clear answers. A fortune teller with their nonsense of Virgos and Aries can give you better advice that Christian prophets can. Isn't that so sad? The scene changes back to Rayford and all he can focus on his religious beliefs and he can't figure out why she doesn't believe what he believes. So basically, rather than listening to her problems and why she's unhappy and needs to talk to someone, he's more interested in his religion. Christians wonder why people think they are self-absorbed. The main focuses that this section keeps going back to is that Rayford and his friends know what is right for Hattie but were silent because it was not their place to say, and that Hattie is a sinner so she has no morals. Christianity builds itself on the belief that you are broken as a person and only through the religion can you get fixed. In which they project their insecurities upon non-believers, or people that go to different churches than they do, and ignore that there are many people that are happy and well-adjusted without believing or following their religion. Hattie starts to whine about being pregnant and makes mention of an abortion. Rayford, in typical Christian hypocrisy, is outraged that she would ever think of that. Despite God showing no respect for children and babies and the verse in Psalms that says, "Happy are they that dash babies against rocks." Or Numbers 5:11-31, the soda ritual. This describes a ritual for a woman accused of adultery, in which she is made to drink a special concoction. This causes her to have a miscarriage and in essence have an abortion. However, Christians trying to push their pro-life dogma can't be bothered with facts and truth even from their own holy book. Rayford tries to convince Hattie to listen to the group and their Christian beliefs to guide her in her decision. Which makes sense that she is going to listen to the people that have treated her like shit from day one, and now she is supposed to believe the lie that they love her. Insert eye roll here. They just want to use her to try and add to their numbers of converts, then they'll once again forget she exists no matter how much they are currently pretending. Rayford starts talking more nonsense about how his new wife could be a mother to Hattie and that pisses her off. Rayford calls Nicolae the potentate and they laugh at how stupid the title sounds to them. Rayford tries to convince Hattie to get Nicolae's permission to return to the United States so she can be converted by Rayford and his group. She grudgingly agrees to try. This ends chapter 9 of Nicolae. See you next time for chapter 10.